I was wrong about Assassin's Creed Valhalla Year 2, at least so far. It seems that Ubisoft namely has a pretty solid plan to at least bring us back to the game each month. We namely got a brand new blog post where we learned about the May content as well. And then the Reloads uploaded a video, which I will of course link to in the video description, with the first leaked info on New Game Plus. So while I still think it's weird that we went 4 months without any free content and that Year 2 did not start before or closer to Dawn of Ragnarok, so now the $40 DLC seems pretty separate from other post-launch plans. But after this week, and now that we have more info about the future, it seems that there will at least be fun content to jump back into every month. We of course just had the new mastery challenges, which I liked a lot, as you could see during the weekly reset stream, and Ubisoft might link future Reda contracts to getting gold medals in one of these challenges. This according to Andy, where he notes that these might be daily. That would of course be way harder than your typical daily challenge, so I hope it's like a weekly one or that we get like a better opal reward for doing this. But I do like a reason to jump back into the mastery challenges and maybe repeat them even if you have already completed them. And speaking of going back to older content, in May, Ubisoft now announced that there will be new reasons to jump back into the river raids. In their future content blog post, they mentioned return to the river raids with an all-new lineup of rewards, including a new bow, scythe, headgear, hair and facial options to be earned from your excursions. And we already see the new hairstyle and beard in this shot, and also the pretty awesome looking weapons. We got another look at the weapons here. I think it's a light bow, right? But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. The scythe looks pretty awesome too with the wing. And yes, we can get the first ever free headgear, which right now is of course only obtainable in Dawn of Ragnarok. So that's pretty huge, making going back to the river raids, I think, worth it. Because yeah, I don't think they will add new rivers, at least in May. This seems to be the River Rhine Fortress, right? With the blockade, like going there now, it seems to be the exact same. So it seems like they're doing what they also did with the Wayland armor that they out of nowhere released in Vaughn's shop with one of the updates, which you could then buy for quite a lot of supplies. Only this time they announced it beforehand. I don't know if the new weapons will cost supplies, because then we could of course farm it already. But yeah, that was the case with the Wayland armor. So yeah, it seems kind of a half step, while I do think we will get at least one new map pack of the river raids in Year 2. I want to talk about that, and of course New Game Plus and way more announced info. Of course, if you like the video so far, then leaving a like on it would really be awesome. And subscribe if you haven't already for way more Valhalla content. So this is pretty interesting, and the Reloads namely shared in his video that Petter found New Game Plus settings mentioned in the game files, hinting at the fact that Ubisoft is indeed working on it. And then he also mentions a feature where you would be able to pick individual quests to then replay them, which would of course also be awesome with all our items and unlocks instead of having to start from the beginning. Now of course, good to note is that this could still change, but as you might know, post-launch producer Jose did confirm to me in an interview that New Game Plus was probably the last thing they would add to the game. So I still think a launch in September at the earliest, November at the latest, or December maybe, is my bet, but it's still interesting that this is now the first time it was spotted in the game files, which is of course a good sign. Another thing I'm happy about are the brand new details regarding the Armory. I of course talked about it in a previous video, but we got a better image now. If we look closely, we can actually see the River Raid dock outside. So yeah, this building seems to be directly next to the River Raid building, which must be over here on our settlement. And yeah, you never guessed it, there's also a perfect spot for a brand new building too. So I think that mystery is solved, but we now actually also got more details about this feature. So while on the inside we see 4 armor sets on display, Ubisoft actually confirmed that the Armory accommodates up to 5 loadouts of weapons, armor and skills. I think they mean abilities, so we can immediately swap to the abilities in the wheel we like in combination with that playstyle, which is great. But the best news of all is that once you put an armor set of your choice on one of these walls with the weapons and abilities, Eivor may freely change between these loadouts from anywhere in the world. So yeah, just like Odyssey and recently Far Cry 6, we can swap to one of these loadouts at any point, which is awesome. The only difference is that we cannot change these loadouts on the fly. We have to go back to the Armory building for that. So it's still not 100% ideal, but it is way better than the current transmog or stable system, where you of course can only access these features by going to the settlements or some cities. So again, May is the current date, likely mid to late, although it is worth noting that the Ostara festival ends on May 12th, and that you can claim the current Twitch Prime bundle till May 10th. So they're all ending in 1 week, which might hint at a new drop around that time. I will, by the way, leave a link to the Twitch Prime bundle in the video description. These items have been at red a couple of times, but especially the bow with up to 40 ability damage, depending on your filled adrenaline slots, can be nice. And of course, as always, real quick, if you have Twitch Prime, you can also give a free subscription every month to, for example, the JorRaptor Twitch channel to support us. But it's of course up to you if you want to do that. So yeah, let's look at some other future stuff we know about. And also real quick, what I really like is that they really seem to be improving. Again, the mastery challenges are more varied and streamlined compared to the first round. But also the rewards are way more unique now and worth getting compared to the pretty boring year 1 reskins that made grinding for the gold medals far from worth it. Again, totally expect a big video going in depth on all the new items they added very soon. But yeah, that should make all the future content more exciting as well, if the rewards are at least going to be great. We can't wait to show off more, said the official Assassin's Creed Twitter account in a reply to me. And right now, this might of course change, but it seems like they might have something new every month. We're now in Season 5, looking at the post-launch roadmap and the names of the 1.5 updates. Well, there should be 7 seasons in total, looking at the game files, with each one giving an opal reward around the return of the festival, just like I would get a 50 opal now with the return of the Ostara festival. So that will happen with the Sigurblot festival and the Wild Hunt festival likely later on as well. There are usually 3 updates per season, with only 2 of them giving a ton of free content. So I think we're looking at 4 more updates with free content, but that can of course change. So one of these updates will totally include the Tombs of the Fallen Part 2, and Rollo likely has to do with this content. We get a message from him according to the game files, and we might even see visions of Caesar and Cleopatra during this content. So maybe this is somehow linked to Origins and the 60 FPS update that we of course know is coming to next-gen consoles at some point. I don't want to talk more about it because it would kind of spoil and ruin it, so let's move on to a potential 4th mythical expansion. And the reloads namely shared files hinting at a Nilfheim potion, and yeah, there totally seems to be space for another potion next to Svartalfheim. Nice illustration by Andy as well. And no spoilers, but Dawn of Ragnarok does hint at more mythical content coming later, and he also shared way more mentions of Nilfheim in the game files. I'm really curious if this 4th expansion is really happening. It's going to be fascinating to see how they're going to roll it out. But yeah, going back to free content, what we saw after Siege of Paris released were River Raid maps in Ireland and Francia, and I would not be surprised if we saw that again this time. There were already files that hinted at river raids in mythical realms, including Nilfheim, but also Svartalfheim and Muspelheim. And it's pretty weird that we did not use the vault we opened in the Mastery Challenges Part 1. It's also pretty close from the River Raid building, so you can easily go there, and maybe these portals that again have no use right now might be used to River Raid in Svartalfheim, Nilfheim and Muspelheim. I think that would be pretty cool, but I also hope that we will be surprised during year 2, like with the Cassandra content, where we got a brand new area to explore out of nowhere, or I want a new way to play Valhalla, like a new game mode instead of a continuation of a previous one. Some big mythical bosses are still missing in the Valkyrie arena, like there's still some things they can do, but of course at one point they will stop. I do think that this first week of free year 2 content shows us that we will likely get better, more balanced stuff with more awesome rewards compared to year 1, and hopefully at a better pace as well. I will of course keep you posted here hopefully I'm able to interview Jose again soon. So subscribe for everything Valhalla if you haven't already. A like on the video would of course really help us out. And check out our big video on the update with everything you need to know by clicking on the screen. For now though, I will speak to you in the next one. Goodbye.